Hello and welcome to this GenerationAM tutorial about metadata and filtered playback. With deadlines getting tighter, metadata are a big concern in any production pipeline when it comes to managing and streamlining your project. Metadata can come from the most diverse sources. This includes, but is not limited to, embedded in the file itself, for example in RAD footage or OpenEXR files, living somewhere within your in-house shot tracking system, entered manually to a shot or task, and last but not least, it can be derived from file names based on your in-house naming conventions. Due to its open project approach, Generation is perfectly capable to handle all of the above and more. To adapt to different pipelines, metadata are also stored in various locations. This might feel complicated at first glance, but in fact it offers an unprecedented flexibility in managing your assets. Let's have a look at a few examples. One obvious thing in Generation are the assign, status and custom icons next to each item. The values of assign and status are saved within the XML project file itself. Given an appropriate XML parser, it's even possible to modify these values from outside of Generation, as long as the project is not in edit mode on any machine. Assign and status can also be used to directly trigger filtered playback. Let's say that we want to review only the shots which need a redo and are worked on by Amy. That's as easy as selecting the appropriate values from the menu. Another option is to use the S directly in the micon, which triggers the select function. Clicking on the S will create a new sub-project containing only the items with that specific status or assignment. The options for assign and status are defined in the associated sections of the preferences. The custom icon takes the status and assign approach to the next level, since it can hold user-definable fields from any metadata, which allows you to tailor this menu to your pipeline needs. Click on Edit to define which fields should show up in the micon. Select any entry from the metadata list and click on the arrow to add that field to the micon. You can even recolor the fields for easy visual distinction, or change their order in the list itself. Again, the S can be used to build a sub-project containing items which match the selected metadata. To use any metadata which is not part of the assign or status keys for playback filtering, you can roll your own rules in the filter menu. Filters can have an unlimited number of entries, and those entries can also be grouped to support sophisticated regular expressions. Let's start with a simple example and say that we want to filter out all items that have the letters MET in their file name. In the filter preferences, you can add, delete, move, or recolor the entries for visual distinction. Add a new filter by clicking on the plus button. Double-click in the name to rename it, and if desired, assign a unique color. Click on Edit to define the filter rules. In the first row of the filter, leave the Boolean value empty. In the field value, enter the name of the metadata field you want to examine. If you are unsure about the name, bring up the clip's metadata by pressing J. The key we are looking for is the name, which is part of the clip subkey. Keys and subkeys are separated by a dot, so the entry in the field value needs to be clip.name. Let's set contains for the operator and string for the key type. Finally, enter the letters MET as a value. Once that's done, you can select that filter from the menu, and only the clips with MET in their name will be highlighted. As said in the beginning, filters can be much more complicated than this, as you can see here. Please consult the Generation manual for further information on this topic. But what if you want to add metadata to your items which is not contained in the file itself. For these scenarios, the user file and user clip metadata come in handy. In the custom section of the preferences, you can define the name and type of new metadata. The user metadata are stored as standard XML files, which again means that they can be modified and populated by other programs as well. The main difference between them is the place where those files are stored. Similar to comments, user clip metadata files live in the metadata subfolder of the current project data folder and have the same name as the item itself. User file metadata are stored directly within the folder of the footage, which makes it convenient to copy them along with the footage itself. Another option is to use event scripting to extract metadata, for example, from the file name. By default, those event scripts live in the events metadata subfolder of your Generation install. In this example, the script meta from name examines the file name of the footage. If the file name matches the in-house naming conventions, the appropriate metadata fields will be extracted, as you can see here. If the naming convention is not met, the script will throw a match error, as shown here. This means that you can also use the script to determine if files that are delivered to you match your naming convention. As you can see, Generation's comprehensive implementation of metadata is made to fit into any pipeline or to create and define your own. This concludes the metadata and filtered playback tutorial for GenerationAM. Stay tuned for more tutorials here on our YouTube channel and check out our website for an evaluation copy. GenerationAM. Just change the speed you work.